bit gimmicky, dare I say it. I don't want to yuck your yum. Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the new long-awaited Pat McGrath Mothership in Petalmorphosis. There'll be swatches, some relevant comparisons, particularly with new releases to help you decide, and a couple of quick looks to show you what can be done with this palette. So please join me and watch on. So the palette comes with this absolutely gorgeous box, which is so reminiscent of a 1970s album cover. I've got mine in the limited edition shade, but it doesn't really matter. It's probably just going to be useful for the real collectors who have got absolutely every Mothership. It would mean you'll be able to differentiate this one. I have swatched everything on my hand. I'm going to move my hand a little bit just so you can see the metallic and the iridescent shades and how they relate to the mattes. So starting at the top here, we have got Divine Dawn. Next to it, the matte Twilight Lilac, then Cosmic Fantasies. This is such a lovely shade. It's got a purpley brown shift to it. Next to it, Astral Eden Envy, and then we've got Astral Sunset Splendor. Moving to the bottom with this one, the green shade, Nocturnal Bloom, and then Astral Iridescent Iris. This is cracking, this shade. It really is. Look at that lilac-y, silvery shift with some goldy flecks. It's just so lovely. Then in the middle, we've got another matte shade, which is Lunar Nectar. Then we've got Blitz Radiant Rhapsody. And then finally, Blitz Bronze Supernova, which is also cracking. It's got a really lovely dark bronzy shift with some gold through it. It's just really lovely. Some of these are fantastic. And that shade here, which is this one, I've got no sense of direction. This one here, Astral Sunset Splendor. Look at how that moves about as well. It's really lovely. This is about, according to Pat McGrath, transformative beauty. Each shade and texture is crafted to transport you to a realm where beauty blooms brilliantly, boldly, and unapologetically. So, it's a cyber garden of petalmorphosis. There's also one other thing that she says, that it's actually the marketing blurb. It's an avant-garden, see what they did there, of blooming colours. Okay, so we get the idea. We're in a garden, it's a cyber garden where anything can happen, and there's a lot of metallics and iridescence, so it's all a bit hyper real. So now we've looked at the swatches, let's look at a couple of demos on my eyes, and I would just like to remind you that I am nowhere near as young as the models that Pat McGrath has been showing us on social media. So let's see what it looks like on a real life mature person. So this is Lunar Nectar, and just to tell you the difference between Lunar Nectar and Twilight Lilac, it's quite a big difference. Well, it's a completely different colour family. So I'm putting Lunar Nectar in the crease here for my left eye, and then Blitz Bronze Supernova. and then Astral Sunset Splendor. Oh, that's nice. And some Cosmic Fantasies. God, these names are cracking. And I'm going to put some Divine Dawn in the corner again. And a bit more Astral Sunset Splendor. There's a bit of fallout, but to be honest, when I put it on my finger, I'm not tapping my finger, so I think the fallout might be from there. But either way, it's okay. We will clean up. I'll put some Cosmic Fantasies and see if that goes here. It may not be enough. We just really need some browns, some good matte browns in not only this palette, but just generally from Pat McGrath, I feel. Because the only colour that is matte and dark enough as a liner, for my preference, is the Nocturnal Bloom, which I've got here. So just in terms of having some variety. And if you don't always want to go for the full shimmer, which even I don't, then you haven't got much choice. Okay, I'll clean up and I'll be back. So I'm back. I've put some mascara on. I've put a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Creamy Kohl inside my eyes just to lighten it up a little bit. And the other thing that I did is I put some eyeshadow on my lower lid, and it's the corresponding eyeshadow that I used for the liner. So in this one, we've got the greeny shade, which is called Nocturnal Bloom. So I've put a little bit of that underneath. And on this eye, I've got this, it's like a shimmery browny taupey shade, which is called Cosmic Fantasies. So I did that. So let's have a look at each one. So this one is I just love this colour, this Astral Iridescent Iris. It's fabulous. And then this one is the peachy shade with bronzy tones as well. And that's the two together. I found them so easy to blend, and I found that I was really quick. Sometimes I can take a while because I really want to blend, and I'm not always very good at blending. However, I found these just, you really can do a quick look, which I have to say surprised me. So now let me show you, and not try and drive you bananas, let me just show you some similar shades. They're not dead-ons, they're not exactly the same, but I think it might be sensible, given that there's been so much new product coming to the market, so many new eyeshadow palettes coming to the market. It could be that you're wondering whether to go for this one or to go for one of the other new releases first, or to prioritise that at the very least. So let me just show you some. There are a few slightly older shades to show you, but most of them are new. So let me just show you those swatches, because I think that might be helpful to you. So there were two palettes that sprung to mind when I was looking at Divine Dawn, and I've got them here. So this is Divine Dawn over here, and next to it there are two shades from the Mothership XII Divine Rose. We've got Skin Show Nude, and then next to it is Iridescent Pink 003. That was literally the reason why I bought Divine Rose in the first place. It was actually this shade because of the shift. But I did think it was worth looking at and comparing it. They're not the same. They're absolutely not the same, but it is worth looking at, because that's how you can tell whether it's a shade you're really going to use. Now below there we have got the Chanel Utopia, which is the palette that came out a few weeks ago. And it's these two light shades that are of interest. So these are the ones underneath here. But as you can see, the pigmentation just is in no way comparable to the Pat McGrath. However, I thought it was still a useful exercise, because the price point that the Chanel is, buy two of those, you can get one Pat McGrath, but you're not going to get the pigmentation. But I did think it was a worthwhile comparison to see how these worked together, and their iridescence rather. So the next comparison is 2 out of the 3 mattes of the new palette. Now just to remind you, we've got the greens, and then we've got these two shades here. I've got them on my hand, and here's the thing. There they are at the top. Can you see? There's pink. Once you see them, there's definitely a pink tinge. One's aubergine, maybe more mauvey, and the other one is pinky. So I thought it was worth comparing to the other deeper colours in a couple of the other Pat McGraths that I've got, because actually I was kind of not so much misremembering them, but actually looking at the new palette and thinking, oh, it's not that pinky. And in fact, I think I said that to you, it's not got that Divine Rose sequel quality to it. However, when I look at comps, here's something interesting. Now this is actually my favourite Pat McGrath palette. This is Celestial Odyssey. I'm afraid mine's a bit worse for wear, but I use it a lot. And it is this colour that I thought would probably be similar. But I was wrong, because look, that's what it looks like. And then next to it in the middle, I've got the new Sensual Sunset, the Charlotte Tilbury, and it's this shade here. And again, that's warmer. That's like a chocolatey, but with a bit of burgundy running through it. And then right at the end, we've got, from Divine Rose, we've got Rose Dusk, which actually I really love as a colour. And again, it's just so great on brown eyes. But my point is really, look at the comparison. It's still pretty pinky and mauvey, which for a matte, I just think that we need more brown mattes in order to build up the crease and so on. Now I do appreciate with burgundies and slightly more deeper eggplant aubergine tones that they're really good. Those are really good crease shades for darker skin tones. But that doesn't necessarily help somebody who wants to move away from the pinks. And in a way, I do want to move away from the pinks, because that would make this palette really wearable for me. But anyway, I just thought that was worth you looking at, just so you can see the comparison. I know once you've compared colours, it does bring out different shades, but it is just important for you to see that this is not, there's no browns, not really. Well, there's no matte browns. And actually, when you look at this palette, I initially thought, oh, this is going to be my mid-brown. I don't know whether you can see it. There's a sparkle to it in the pan that doesn't translate onto the skin once you actually swatch it on. Yeah, if I do that, maybe you can see a bit of the sparkle. It's just a bit odd that it sparkles in the pan but doesn't sparkle on the hand. I'm not saying I want it to, or on the eye. I'm not saying I want it to. I just find that as a finish a bit kind of a misleading. It's a bit gimmicky, dare I say it. I don't want to yuck your yum, because I do appreciate that there's a huge following for these Mothership palettes, and I know I'm not one of the people that goes completely bonkers for them. Although I am excited for this, and I was certainly excited for this Divine Rose back in the day, because, and in fact it's my second one, because there are a couple of, I think, very special shades. Anyway, I thought that was worth showing you. I've got a couple of other comparisons to show you as well that may be of interest. Now, in case you're particularly attracted to the shade Astral Eden Envy, which is this one over here in the new palette, I just thought it was worth comparing to Charlotte Tilbury's Emerald Effect, which is her number, let me just check, it's number 7 in the palette. So it's that one there. So that is Charlotte Tilbury Emerald Effect there. And then here we have Madrigal from Lisa Eldridge's Sorcery palette. So in terms of the two palettes, which are fantastic for greens, it is these little ones. Yeah, they're much smaller, obviously, and cheaper. But if you want your green fix, and if it's the greens that you're particularly attracted to, I just thought, again, that was worth having a look. I think they're pretty close. I know they're not the same. And I have to say that this Pat McGrath in particular, the Astral Eden Envy, it goes on particularly smoothly. It really does. But again, really worth looking at the colours, because the Charlotte Tilbury formula and the Lisa Eldridge formula, neither of them is a slouch. They're great. They blend really nicely, as we know. And in addition, thinking about the greens in the palette, I'd like to draw your attention to Blitz Radiant Rhapsody in the new palette. And the closest that I could get is Grotto in the Lisa Eldridge Sorcery palette. It's not the same. It's not got the same bluey intensity and this incredible shine. Look at that. Look at that in the new Pat McGrath. That's fantastic. And I have to say, when I used it as liner for my eyes, it was just beautiful. It went on super smoothly. But again, I just wanted to show you these greens, because greens are, it's not that they're hard to get right. It's just that it's hard to get a palette that's exciting in green without it being flat. So these have all got fantastic shimmers, but I just thought it was worth pointing out. I forgot to include the matte green shade in the new palette as a comparison. And then we've got Troubadour, which is from the Lisa Eldridge Sorcery palette. very, very close. The Troubadour's got a bit more sheen to it, and the Pat McGrath is very much a dead-on matte. It's got that lovely flat matte quality. Not flat as in lifeless, but deep and velvety. But there is a similarity there. Add to the palette, if you're attracted to those three greens, then actually Lisa Eldridge Sorcery may be worth considering if it's only the greens you're attracted to, which it probably isn't, but it's still worth seeing how close these are, and certainly if you don't want duplication in your collection as well. Now look at this Astral Sunset Splendor from the new palette. See if you can see yeah, look at that. And next to it is one of the many shades that I bought the Divine Rose for, which is the Rose Venus shade. Look at that. Oh, it's fabulous. Now underneath we've got Charlotte Tilbury's Sunset palette, and it's number 9, so it's that one there. So then you can see, yep, you can see that. They're related, aren't they? They are related. And then what I did is I swatched a few of the Natasha Denona from the Bloom palette, just because these are very recent releases, and it may be that if you're interested and excited by peachy apricotty tones, that would be relevant for you. Now, they're not nearly as pigmented and as dazzling as the Pat McGrath. I mean, I have to say, I look at some of these shades from Pat McGrath, and I totally get it why people go bananas for these palettes, because really, when she gets it right, it's so dead right, it's thrilling. The Natasha Denona doesn't have the same, by any means, the same intensity. So those are the shades I've chosen are Fluorescence, Lush, Fleur and Rue. And now onto Astral Iridescent Iris. Here she is, it's beautiful, this shade. And next to her, I have put, out of the Lisa Eldridge Betty palette, this is, what's it called? It's called Starlit. So it's this shade here. Now, this has got a minty shift. It's lavendery lilac with a minty shift. So it's by no means the same. It's just another very interesting, sheeny, iridescent colour. And underneath, I have put Equinox from the Natasha Denona Bloom, which I find a very problematic shade, actually. It doesn't really show up as well as I thought it would. You can see it here, it's got sheen, but it hasn't really got that, it's not got enough of a punch really to get excited about. Although weirdly, I've seen other people try it and it works. I don't know whether maybe I got the end of the line, or my palette was made on a Friday or something, as they used to say about cars. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, Astral Iridescent Iris is an amazing colour. It's thrilling. And I suppose the nearest is this one from the Betty palette. And then finally, just really quickly, just to show you the two ostensibly browny shades in the new palette, we've got Blitz Bronze Supernova, which I know you've looked at before, and also we've got Cosmic Fantasies, which is this one here. Now, I think it's worth looking at, because look, Cosmic Fantasies, I mean, that's where the cosmic comes from. It's shot through with kind of purple. This is, the first one is a really lovely kind of tobacco metallic kind of shade. But again, you're getting that, you're definitely getting that purpley shift to this palette and this kind of bias to it. Underneath, I've just got two shades here, which are from the Divine Rose, which are their sort of, one's Lovelace and the other one is Sable Bronze. And then, just in case you went for one of the Charlotte Tilbury, the neutral palette, this is the one in the middle. This is the shade in the middle of this in the neutral palette, and it's that one there. Now, it's not as shot through with gold or anything as the others, but I just thought it was worth you looking at as a comparator. Right, let's get on to my final thoughts and wrap up. Having now used all the shades of Petalmorphosis, both on my eyelids as well as on the back of my hand repeatedly, as you know, many baby wipes were sacrificed in the making of this video, I can tell you that they all blend beautifully. There's not a dud colour that I'm sort of going swiping and trying to see what the fuss is about or what it's meant to do. There is none of that. That's great. The question is it an exciting enough palette, and is it an original enough palette to justify £119 or, you know, $128? And, you know, I suppose it depends whether you are a collector or not and how much you love the Pat McGrath formulas. For me, it's certainly a more interesting colour story than we've seen. I really would like to have a brown colour that would help me with as a transition shade, and would also stop everything kind of pulling mauvey purple, which I found even when I did the two looks, one with a different look on each eye, even though I used Twilight Lilac and, here we go, Lunar Nectar, which, as I said, they are different. They are sufficiently different, but the thing is, Lunar Nectar is still pinky, so it still pulled more pink than I would have liked. I wanted more of a brownie and coral and peachy shiny look, and then the other one to be sort of more of a mauvey look. So for me, that's a weakness in the palette from the way I would like to use it. There aren't any really special shades in there that kind of make my heart sing, which I do kind of feel with the Divine Rose, which I know is a while ago, and I know people are a bit bored of it. And also this little quad I keep talking about, which, you know, all 4 colours are just brilliant and so usable. It's just fantastic. And I don't feel that with this one. There are some really lovely shades that I've sort of enjoyed using. I mean, not least these 2 shades, you know, these kind of lovely shimmer, shiny shades, and very smooth. They're not gritty. They're sort of glittery, but not chunky. I really appreciate those. However, it's just probably, I think what it is that the colours are not that special for me. The greens are brilliant, but between the other 2 green palettes, the Charlotte Tilbury and the Lisa Eldridge, I kind of get my wonderful green eyeshadow business done, sort of thing. So I kind of don't feel that that's such an original thing. So it is lovely, it is very usable. How much I am going to use it, I think, is going to be tempered by the fact that there's not a great brown, and I needed a great brown to kind of, you know, root everything in sort of together, and also to shift the tones from sort of browny peaches when I want to, and then also have the plummy, mauvey, lilac-y shades as well as obviously the greens. It's still exciting. What can I say? I want to hear from you, really, because if you love the Pat McGrath formulas, what is it about this particular shade, this particular palette that you're really excited about? And indeed, what's your favourite of the palettes? I mean, what's the one that you go to, you know, again and again? I've been flirting with Moonlit Seduction. I think there are some shades in there that every time I walk past and I sort of swatch them, I just think, oh, that's so exciting. And I've kind of sort of earmarked it, or sort of put it to the back of my mind, thinking, okay, when I can get a 20 or a 30% discount, that's probably when I'll take the plunge. But is there another palette I should also be considering? I also know that we have to save our pennies until sort of September time, when Pat McGrath brings out her range with Louis Vuitton, which I'm obviously really excited about. And I do wonder whether we're going to get more of those really special shades, and I hope we will, whether we'll get more of those special shades that you can see, never mind from the moon, but from another universe. And I love those shades. They're the shades I live for. And for me, that's really what Pat McGrath can do really well when it comes to eyeshadow. There are other things that I love in her range as well, but in terms of eyeshadow, that for me is what she does best. So I would love to hear from you. Please let me know. Do comment down below. Do give me a good thumbs up, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.